Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm George Thomas. Today, chaos for travelers as severe weather leads to thousands of flights being canceled or delayed, with some passengers being forced to sleep on cots. As campaign rhetoric heats up going into next year's elections, we'll see how security has to be beefed up to protect politicians. You've heard of redshirting college athletes, holding them back for a year. Now, some parents are doing the same for kindergartners. We'll take a look at the possibilities and potential problems of this growing trend. And a new PureFlix film, tells the story of how one man wants to be a big country music star, but can he escape his past? We'll bring you our Studio 5 look at God's country song. Those stories and much more today on CBN NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
Folks, we begin with the chaos, travel chaos that is, as millions of Americans prepare to travel for the holiday weekend. More than 2,000 flights have been canceled across the nation due to severe weather, and thousands more have been delayed. Charlene Aaron has the story.
Dark skies making for travel turmoil at the nation's airports. Thousands of flight cancellations and long delays due to days of severe storms across the country. In the Northeast, more than 2,000 cancellations and 7,000 delays Tuesday alone.
It's not raining at home and it's not raining here, so I'm just confused why planes are not flying.
Desperate travelers in Boston.
We're trying to just get home to our baby.
Fed up travelers at New Jersey's Newark Airport.
Now they're giving us a flight for the 2nd of July. I can't wait until July the 2nd. I mean, it's like 7 days, 6 days from now. It's ridiculous.
At Denver's airport, stranded passengers forced to sleep on cots.
Looks like an apocalypse. It really does. Everybody, is just sprawled out on the floor.
Airlines blame the FAA for lack of staffing, with United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby telling employees the FAA reduced the arrival rates by 40% and the departure rates by 75%, and calling weather something that the FAA has historically been able to manage. The FAA firing back, saying, "We will always collaborate with anyone seriously willing to join us to solve a problem."
The challenges that the FAA has, not just with staffing, but its technology systems are well known. They're real. The FAA is trying to address this. They can't snap their fingers and create new air traffic controllers. It's just not that easy.
Meanwhile, extreme heat in Texas and smoke from Canadian wildfires are back and could add to the travel problem as the holiday weekend approaches. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Thank you, Charlene. Turning now to the 2024 presidential race. Although polls have repeatedly shown President Biden leading former President Trump, a new survey from Morning Consult has Trump ahead with 44% to Biden's 41%. But there is a long way to go with the election still nearly a year and a half away. The polls also comes as the president is set to make a speech today in Chicago on the economy, trying to convince the public that it's doing very well. But a recent Associated Press survey showed that only 33% approve of the president's leadership on the economy. As the 2024 campaign ramps up, so do concerns over political rhetoric, potentially leading to threats against candidates, lawmakers, and other public figures. Security experts warn violence is more likely when representatives and senators are away from our nation's capital. And that leaves an already stretched Capitol Hill police force struggling to keep up with potential threats. CBN national security correspondent Caitlin Burke brings us that story from Washington.
Threats against lawmakers have surged 400% over the last 6 years, and Capitol Police maintain in order to fulfill their duty of keeping Congress safe, it's going to require an updated model of law enforcement.
The old approach to member security has been replaced by the need to protect a member's environment, as well as the member's family, both in Washington, D.C. and at their home.
The need for such a shift became evident last year. First, with a violent attack on the husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi in their home, and more recently against staff members at the district headquarters of Representative Gary Connolly, a Democrat from Virginia.
And the increasingly heated political rhetoric further heightened the prospect of future security risks and challenges. We must be adequately staffed to handle these events. We are not currently.
Donnell Harvin, former chief of D.C. Homeland Security and Intelligence, tells CBN News both right and left-wing extremists use comments from high-profile lawmakers as a call to mobilize.
There are lawmakers who put things out there. They make statements. They send tweets. And to them, it may be benign, right? They may feel like they're appealing to their base or giving the people that vote for them or their constituents exactly what they want to hear from their perspective. Meanwhile, those words can easily convert to violence amongst individuals who don't take them just as words.
As an example, Harvin points to comments made ahead of the ruling that eventually overturned Roe v. Wade.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
That demonization can lead to what we call stochastic terrorism. And that's when there is a specific threat of violence or actual violence against an individual because they've been demonized by a group or an individual that is prominent.
Months later, authorities stopped an assassination attempt near the home of Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Harvin, like Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger, believes these violent threats will only increase now that the 2024 campaign is underway, and predicts the overall lack of trust in the federal government will only make things worse.
I think that we're living in a time in which there is great degradation of public trust in public institutions. And so anything that the federal government would tell them to make them safer or protect them is going to be seen with skepticism.
Chief Manger is asking Congress for a $106.3 million budget increase, something he says is necessary if his department is going to keep growing, transforming, and staying ahead of the threats. Caitlin Burke, CBN News, Washington.
Thank you, Caitlin. Here's a look at some other stories beyond the headlines. Google is backing away from a Pride Month drag performance promoted by the company after some employees complained it was anti-Christian. USA Today reports employees signed a petition accusing Google of religious discrimination, saying their provocative and inflammatory artistry is considered a direct affront to the religion, beliefs, and sensitivities of Christians. The paper adds Google did not say if the petition played a part in their decision. Also, a new Summit poll shows that Americans think businesses' pride campaigns have gone too far. The Washington Examiner reporting the survey found that 73% of voters want companies to focus on their products and avoid politics and culture. Coming up, you've heard of redshirting athletes, that's holding them back for a year. Well, what about doing the same for kindergartners? See how a growing number of parents are trying that out when we come back. Welcome back. If you're a college sports fan, you may be familiar with redshirting. It's the practice of keeping athletes out of competition while they improve their skills. Well, now some parents are applying that same concept to kindergarten, holding their kids back a year until they're more mature. Tara Mergen explains the possibilities and the pitfalls of this growing trend.
Parents often ask themselves whether their kids are ready for kindergarten when it comes time to make that big transition. Well, experts agree it can be helpful to wait until 6 instead of 5 to get that extra year of growth. Opinions vary on the overall outcome.
That last extra year of preschool, he was still the kid that was rolling around to get laughs. He was a character. He was a clown.
No question, Sarah Goldstein says that then 5-year-old Kiernan was not ready to start kindergarten.
I don't know if it's because he was the firstborn, his own personality, perhaps even being a boy, I think sometimes.
The decision can be a tricky one. And Sarah, an editor for the parenting platform Motherly, isn't alone, joining a growing number of parents waiting to enroll their child in kindergarten, even though the traditional calendar shows it's time.
When he's 5, well, you don't exactly cheat, but you game the system. It's become so well known over the last several decades,
wanting to give them the perceived advantage of being one of the oldest rather than youngest.
It has a name.
Have you heard about parents redshirting their children to give them an edge in academics?
Borrowed from college sports, redshirting means student athletes are on the team, but stay out of competition for a season to up their game.
Inaugural season of Conference USA.
In the case of kindergarten, it means the child gets another year to mature emotionally and academically.
But you may have that child that is that late birthday, younger, a little bit more timid, and they could benefit from being the older child that has more of that self-confidence.
According to the numbers, parents are more likely to delay their sons than daughters.
My daughter and, Jade, perhaps because she had an older brother who kind of showed her the way, perhaps because it's just who she is, she was born ready.
There's no evidence of an intelligence gap. But girls do develop those skills around organization, forward planning, etc., somewhat earlier than boys do.
More and more parents are deciding to wait an extra year.
Estimates on the number of students who are redshirted vary, with a recent survey showing it's doubled since 1980, from 10 to 20%. Still, the growing practice of redshirting can become controversial. If, say, the motivation is because parents hope it might give their child an academic, social, or athletic edge over their younger peers.
The amount of pressure developmentally that comes with that type of environment is not usually the healthiest for a child, and that can create other behavioral issues that parents may not be ready for. And many times I've seen kids burn out.
Though the numbers also show lower-income parents less likely to hold a child back from starting kindergarten due to the cost of preschool or daycare.
The setbacks on their education that come with COVID school closures and remote learning.
During the pandemic, COVID also caused many parents to delay the start of kindergarten, with enrollment dropping nationally by 16% in the 2020-2021 school year. No matter the reason, redshirting can also create challenges for teachers, now expected to accommodate a wider range of maturity and ability levels in class. Well, some studies indicate a small academic advantage, with redshirted kids more likely to attend college. Others show no significant differences between those who start kindergarten later and those who start on time. But experts agree a delay can be damaging for at-risk populations, such as children in low-income families or those with special needs. Though for many families, the extra cost of another year of daycare or preschool is too much of a financial burden. Some school districts, including New York City, have forbidden redshirting on equity grounds.
Second presentation starts at 6 o'clock.
Ultimately, parents who have the choice must make the call.
It's important to strike a balance here between wanting the best for our kids and not coddling them too much.
As for Kiernan, now 17 and college-bound, Sarah has no regrets.
He's incredibly well prepared at this point. We have one more year with him to, teach him how to truly do the laundry correctly. And just so that when he is out in the world, he's had that one extra year, I think, to really feel like he's got all the tools he needs.
Redshirting is not an option for all parents, especially when it comes to public schools. Most states require children attend at least half-day kindergarten in the school year after their 5th birthday, with some exceptions. Private schools can set their own rules. In Washington, I'm Tara Mergener, CBN News.
Still ahead, a new story tells the story of a man who wants to be a country music star. But will he be able to escape from his past? We'll bring you our Studio 5 look from Nashville at God's country song right after this. Welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. God's Country Song is a new PureFlix film about a guy who wants to be the next big country music star. That is, until his past catches up to him. Ephraim Graham recently traveled to Nashville for the red carpet premiere and sat down with the filmmaker and lead actors of the movie. Take a look.
Let's make him feel welcome. It's Noah Bryan.
Everybody say Noah Bryan on 3.
Noah Bryan!
God's Country Song. How did you come to this project?
Well, actually, I co-wrote it with my co-writer, Dan Backman. I really enjoy doing movies that have music in it, and so Dan and I got together and came up with the idea.
I got some good news. You're opening for Colt Young.
Do you know how big this is for us? I think we should celebrate.
There's no drinking on this tour. You got to stay humble.
How was the story born? What idea happened that made you play with this? You know, we wanted a story that, today, addiction is big. We wanted to deal with something that dealt with family and how important it is to have not only parents, but to have God in your family to fight all those demons.
Pride always comes before the fall. I've seen it before, know what I'm talking about, all right?
I got this, man.
So it's a story really about, biblically speaking, about the pride before the fall.
You also do have an incredible cast for this film. What was casting like?
We do, yes. So we have Justin Gaston, who's the lead, who's amazing, an incredible singer. Justine Alpert, who plays the girlfriend. J.J. Miller, who is also in Saved by Grace. He plays the little boy in one of the episodes of Saved by Grace. He's incredible.
It's time you met your son.
I'm from Child Services. Up until a few weeks ago, this little boy had a loving mother. He needs his father.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
I play Noah Bryan, who's an aspiring country artist, and I leave home to pursue my dreams, and right as I'm about to, get my break and go on this big tour, I find out I have a son, JJ, and so just at this point in my life where I've worked so hard, and it's like, am I gonna selfishly pursue my dreams, or am I gonna, step up and become a father?
They want you to take a paternity test.
What is it?
Congratulations.
I told you I wasn't that kid's daddy. I told you. It's over. My career's over. You understand that, right? This is done.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
How true to life are the people that you play? Do you see yourselves in them in any way?
I relate to Noah a lot because I left Louisiana, at 17 years old. I went to New York and was in between Nashville and LA, just pursuing music and pursuing acting. So I can relate a lot to the fact of losing time with family and friends to pursue a dream. And then, I think I can relate to Noah in the sense of he put so much on the line and gave so much up. And when he's at this, crossroad in his life, he's like, is it all for nothing? Is this all gonna have been for nothing?
I'm going on this tour.
What about JJ?
What about him?
I'm a huge empath, which I feel like she is too. And I think Leanne just serves for me as a reminder of the kind of person that I want to be in my everyday life, is to love wholeheartedly and to take others in and just care for others more than yourself.
What is it about this story that drew you to it?
I love just the fundamental aspects of this movie that relates to everybody, people of faith or people who may have not found their faith yet. It's just a great reminder for a good human being. It's based on forgiveness, grace, and love, and then ultimately hope and faith. And who doesn't need that on a day-to-day basis?
God has a plan.
Please forgive my pride. I want to be his dad.
Are you being the man?
I think I'm ready.
I would love nothing more than for you to be ready.
Daddy,
What's up?
what does being the man mean?
I was just excited to tell this story of a guy who screwed up and needed redemption, and to show God's, his grace towards us, and his, just that he's always there waiting for us to turn back to him. And so I think it's an amazing story to tell. It makes me want to be a better person.
God's Country Song is available on the PureFlix platform. And tonight, Studio 5 sits down with the real-life hero and former government agent Tim Ballard. He talks about the new film Sound of Freedom, which is based on his mission to save 2 siblings from sex trafficking. Plus, Studio 5 talks with recording artist Doe in celebration of Black Music Month and gives you a first look at the film Surrounded. You can catch it all on Studio 5 on the CBN News channel tonight at 8:30 Eastern. You can also watch it on the CBN News app or on YouTube. Coming up, a pastor taking an unusual trip across the country to help the unborn. We'll tell you about his mission when we come back. Stay with us, folks. Well, it has been an epic journey for a North Carolina pastor who took on a mission to defend the unborn. Pastor Jay Stewart made headlines after riding his bike more than 3,000 miles from California all the way to South Carolina. He completed the journey this week. His purpose, to raise awareness and $1 million to help the pro-life group Love Life Minstries. Pastor Stewart hopes the ministry can expand from 20 cities into many other locations. He says it's been amazing to see the body of Christ support his effort on this journey across the nation. That's awesome. Well, folks, that's it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can find more of our awesome news programs on the CBN News channel anytime or online with cbnnews.com. Also, tell us what you think about the stories you've seen by emailing newswatch@cbn.com. Or you can reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We hope you'll join us again next time. From all of us here from the studio headquarters of the Christian Broadcasting Network, goodbye and God bless.